I received a call from the insurance company at exactly 9:02 a.m. on Monday. I'm sorry, Mr. Miller, but we need to confirm one last time that you are the sole beneficiary of the death payout. I froze in the hallway of the veterinary hospital, gripping the phone tightly as if they had just said something unreal. My wife Claire died 8 years ago. A boating accident off the coast of Florida. No body was ever found, no funeral, just a death certificate and a lingering emptiness that stretched on for years. I thought I had learned to live with that. Until this morning, when they told me a $1 million life insurance payout had just been withdrawn from a bank branch in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. That's impossible, I whispered, but the voice on the other end responded with nothing but professional silence. I don't know what's happening. All I know is, if this is real, Claire isn't dead. She disappeared, and she took everything. I met Claire in the summer of 2006 at a local fair in Montana. She was selling handmade crafts from a small booth, bracelets, hand-dyed scarves, little trinkets bursting with color and personality. I was a civil engineer, working for a quarry company near Helena at the time. I never saw myself as someone who believed in love at first sight, but with Claire, I was drawn in from the very first glance. She wasn't like anyone I'd ever known, wild and gentle all at once, like a breeze from an ocean I'd never seen. We dated for 3 months, moved in together in the fourth, and got married before our first winter arrived. The early years were beautiful. We didn't have much, but we had each other. She painted, I worked construction. We had a coonhound named Tucker, and every night we cooked dinner together. Claire used to laugh and say, we lived like a gas range commercial, even though our stove was old and rattled when it lit. But I always knew Claire never truly belonged here. She said she was an ocean person, yet lived deep inland surrounded by snow and pine trees. She said she loved me. I believed her. But there were times I'd catch her staring off into the distance, like she was somewhere else, somewhere I could never follow. We tried to have kids 3 times, and 3 times we failed. Claire grew quieter. She retreated into herself, painting only in shades of deep ocean blue, adrift ships, and women with their backs turned to the sea. Then in 2014, she said she wanted a sea adventure. A 3-week trip, just her alone. She called it a journey to find herself again. I took her to the airport, hugged her goodbye, and said, be careful, call me. She smiled and gently placed her hand on my cheek. It's just 3 weeks, Dan. I'll be back. 3 weeks later, I got a call from the embassy. The diving vessel Claire had booked a ticket on had sunk. There were no survivors, no bodies recovered, only her name on the passenger list. I fell apart. But in time, I accepted it. I held a symbolic funeral, framed a photo, buried a jar of sand in place of ashes. People told me I was strong. They didn't know. I was just numb. I never loved anyone else for 8 years. No dating, no moving on. I kept her art studio exactly the same. Never touched her unfinished paintings. Every year on the anniversary of her death, I quietly laid flowers by the stream she used to love. I thought I had lost her forever. I was wrong. That night I didn't sleep. I sat at the kitchen table, staring at a cup of cold coffee and a blank laptop screen. Logic screamed at me that it was impossible, that Claire was dead, that I had cried myself to sleep night after night in a room she never returned to. But something inside me, instinct, refused to let it go. I started with the name of the bank branch in Mexico the insurance rep had mentioned on the call. A few clicks, a few emails. I tracked down a list of employees and public account holders. Nothing matched the name Claire Miller. But when I searched using a variation, her maiden name, Claire Dawson, a secondary account appeared, linked to a Mexican national ID registered just 3 months ago. The profile photo was blurry, but I recognized those eyes. It was Claire, older, thinner, but it was her. My hand trembled for the first time in years. Claire wasn't dead. Claire had run. In the days that followed, I took a leave of absence citing personal health issues. I spent every waking moment digging. Visa history, insurance numbers, bank transactions, rental addresses in Mexico, and the pieces began to fit together. Claire wasn't just alive. She was living an entirely new life, under a new name, in a city nearly 3,000 kilometers away. A temporary residency record, a small studio listed under freelance artist, an Instagram art page filled with paintings of oceans and sunlight, posted regularly under the name CD Azul, Dawson, Claire, Azul, Spanish for blue. She never stopped. She just left me behind. What broke me wasn't that she was alive. It was realizing she chose to disappear. She orchestrated her death so she could collect the life insurance payout with me listed as the beneficiary and then stole everything. I used to think I was a victim of fate. Now I know I was the victim of the woman I loved. And from that moment on, I didn't feel pain anymore. I started making a plan. 3 weeks later, I arrived in Puerto Vallarta. No one knew. No heavy luggage, just a backpack, a passport, and a kind of determination I never knew I had. I hired a local private investigator, Javier, who had worked insurance fraud cases before. He didn't ask many questions, just nodded when I handed him a photo of Claire. It might take a few days, but if she's here, we'll find her. While I waited, I followed the digital trail. I requested a copy of the insurance claim form. It still used my name, and the signature looked like mine, but it wasn't. A forgery, an incredibly sophisticated one. Claire didn't do this alone. She had help. I traced the email used to initiate the transaction, an anonymous account. But the server pinged back to a small internet cafe in the heart of this very city. On the fourth day, Javier called. "You'll want to see this." A photo, Claire, her hair shorter, wearing a white dress, sitting at a seaside cafe. She was smiling, free, unburdened, like the life we had never even existed. I didn't confront her, didn't storm in. I knew better now. Emotions wouldn't solve this, but the law might. Back at the hotel, I opened my laptop and called an old friend, Joe, now a financial crimes and identity fraud attorney in San Diego. "I've got a case," I told him, "not for revenge, for justice." I sent him everything: the forged insurance claim, verified ID photos, the linked bank transactions, her current rental address in Mexico, and most crucially, photo evidence of her living under a new name, while the U.S. government still listed her as legally dead. Joe was silent for a moment. Then he said, "Dan, this isn't just insurance fraud. This is federal fraud, identity fabrication, fake death, and violations of international law." I nodded. "I don't need her to go to prison. I just want what's mine back, and I want to know why." Joe advised me not to confront her. "Let the FBI handle it," he said. But I refused. Just one meeting, one time. I need to see her face and let her know I know. The next morning, I walked into the cafe she frequented. Claire was there alone, sketchbook open in front of her, eyes gazing out toward the horizon. I sat down across from her, said nothing. It took her a few seconds to look up, and when she saw me, her face drained of color, like the blood had left her heart. "Dan," she whispered, like she'd seen a ghost. "Were you planning to stay dead forever?" I asked. She didn't answer. She trembled. No tears, no apologies, just silence, like the last 8 years. I placed a copy of the forged insurance contract in front of her. "I didn't come here to beg you to come back. I came to tell you the game is over." Then I stood and walked away. Never looked back. I don't know if Claire fled the country or was arrested soon after. All I know is that same day, Joe submitted the full case to the FBI. As for me, I booked a flight back to Montana. For the first time in 8 years, I didn't feel lost. I just felt like a mission was complete. 3 weeks later, I received a call from Special Agent Hannah Brooks with the FBI's Los Angeles division. Her voice was calm but firm. "We've confirmed that Claire Dawson, also known as Claire Miller, was arrested at the airport while attempting to leave Mexico using a false passport." I didn't feel satisfaction. I didn't feel pain anymore. Just emptiness. But a clean, quiet kind of emptiness. Like after a violent storm, when you can finally breathe again. Claire was charged with 4 federal crimes: life insurance fraud, identity document forgery, cross-border bank fraud, and most seriously, faking her death for financial gain. They asked if I would testify as a witness. I agreed, not for revenge, but because I had lived as a widower for nearly a decade. I deserved the truth. At the preliminary hearing, Claire sat there, no longer proud, no longer radiant. Just a woman laid bare. She pled guilty as part of a deal to reduce her sentence. The court sentenced her to 6 years in prison, full restitution of the $1 million insurance payout, and permanent denial of re-entry into Mexico after her release. The judge looked at me and asked, "Mr. Miller, would you like to say something?" I stepped forward, took the microphone, looked straight at the woman who once meant everything to me, and I said, "I used to think Claire had died. Now I understand. The woman I loved died a long time ago, the day she chose to walk away without ever looking back. I don't wish her pain. I just want people to understand. Sometimes the deepest wounds don't come from loss, but from the lies that last for years." I left the courtroom that day without looking back. My attorney Joe handled the recovery of the insurance money. That sum is now mine, not as a reward, but as a restoration of dignity and truth. I filed no further claims. I asked for no emotional damages. I didn't need anything else. All I wanted was closure. I sold the old house in Montana not long after the trial. Not because I needed the money, but because I couldn't go on living within those walls. Walls filled with memories, where every photo frame, every crack in the wooden floor reminded me of someone who now belonged to the past. I moved to a small town in Oregon, a place I had once passed through on a construction job years ago. I bought a small wooden cabin on the edge of the forest, with a garden, a porch, and birdsong every morning. I named my new dog Milo, a chubby, loyal yellow Labrador. In the mornings, I walk him along a trail by the lake. In the afternoons, I do odd jobs for the neighbors, fixing pipes, building bookshelves, patching up leaky roofs. No one here knows I was once the victim of a federal insurance scam. No one calls me the betrayed husband. Here, I'm just Dan, the quiet, middle-aged man who drinks black coffee and mows his lawn every week. One morning in May, I received a stamped envelope from an unfamiliar address in Colorado. Inside was a handwritten letter, the script slanted and careful. "You don't know me, but I'm the sister of a woman who once lived with Claire Dawson in Mexico. When she was arrested, Claire said something I'll never forget. He still forgave me, even when I didn't deserve it. I just wanted to thank you for not staying silent, for doing the right thing. People like us, we found hope in what you did." I read the letter twice. Then I pinned it to the fridge, right next to a photo of Milo, grinning wide in the snow. Sometimes when night falls and the wind howls through the pines, I still dream of Claire, but the dreams no longer bring tears. She's just someone who once existed in my life, a closed chapter in an old book. I'm not searching for love anymore. I'm searching for peace, and I've found it, not in the noise of justice, but in the quiet of true freedom. Some losses don't need to be repaid. They only need to be understood and left behind.